Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative, and I just came back from seeing Megalopolis, and I have to say, this is one of the worst big budget movies that I've ever seen, and not one of the worst. I don't even know why I said it. This is the worst big budget movie that I've ever seen. This is very strange because if you know Francis Ford Coppola, he made The Godfather, just a beautiful, beautiful film. This was written, produced, and directed by him, and it is a terrible movie. And I never thought that I would see so many actors that I like in other projects do so bad, with the exception of, I think, two. The rest were just kind of mixed, and it's really leading me to believe, like, what did I actually just witness, and how did this movie get from playing in film festivals to actually where I saw it at Alamo on a nationwide release, I believe, or at least in New York, Alamo in the financial district. It's shocking to me that this was made. This is a passion project which was not picked up by a number of producers, and as far as I know, and this is just me like researching before I watched the movie, Francis Ford Coppola actually had to finance this movie by himself. I would say this is a passion project, but my overall question, even after trying to discern what his idea was for this and what we actually got, I have to ask why. There is no point of this, and I think this would have been served as a Broadway play or an off-Broadway play because of the theatrics, because of the way that people were told to act in this, and for maybe the story, but it was just overall a disconjointed mess. And it's not just because, so if you've ever seen the trailer, or one of the trailers, you may think, okay, this just doesn't look quite right. The CGI doesn't look quite right. And I just have to say, the CGI being bad is one of the least bad parts about this. I was going to say, okay, we're going to do our section without spoilers, and then we're going to do it with spoilers, but there is so little of an actual story or something that's, for me, that there's a semblance of story, that I don't know how to actually word spoilers or no spoilers, because it doesn't matter. None of it matters at all. And that's shocking. That is shocking to me. All right, so let's see. Is there any other background that I want to say? Who is the actress? Is it Aubrey, the one that was in Parks and Rec, who is now in Agatha All Along? What's her? Aubrey Plaza. Aubrey Plaza is the standout in this, just because, and this is why I think she works, her indifference on Parks and Rec and her indifference as a person, that's kind of her character everywhere, kind of makes her work in this movie, because it seems like she's not taking things too seriously, or she's kind of the baseline for this entire movie. And it's really hard to say that because there are so many, like, the makers of this movie, whether it be Francis Ford Coppola or whoever is helping out with this, they don't know what this movie wants to be. It feels like they've told every single actor and actress different ways of playing their part, and they just don't all come together cohesively. For example, Adam Driver does an okay job, but he overacts in some of this. You've seen how good he can be if you've seen him in other projects. He just comes off as overacting. Giancarlo Esposito is my second favorite, and he comes off as sincere 90% of the time, but there's a few pieces where the lines that he states, they just don't work, and everything about him just doesn't work for the movie. It's an oddity. It's a very odd thing. And for the rest of them, Dustin Hoffman's in this movie. He comes off as just completely unhinged, and he's kind of like playing the part in a joking way and in a real way. I have to look this up. Let's see, Shia LaBeouf is in this, and he is just kind of playing an art house version of Shia LaBeouf, but with no consistency at all. Like, I wish I could tell you guys more about the characters, but the reason why I worded this is you should buy a ticket to see it is I want you to see what a bad movie looks like in 2024 and how something, I want you guys to watch this movie and be like, how could this have been made? How could this have been released nationwide? I just don't get it. Nathaniel, God, I can't even pronounce this right. Emmanuel, she is, I guess, the female lead of this, maybe before or behind Aubrey Plaza. She's just given the worst possible lines to say. Everybody in this movie is given the worst possible lines, but it just kind of, it's somebody overacting and how do I say this? Not overemphasizing the words they say, as in the way that they say them, but each and every character in this movie assumes that the words that come out of their mouth are more important than they actually are. There's a lot of quoting writers and philosophers. There's a lot of making yourself sound elegant, but you're not saying anything. And I think my biggest gripe with this is a movie that if I made my first movie ever, and I'm not a director, I'm not a cinematographer, a producer, or any of that, or a writer, this is the movie that I feel like I would make because I was learning what to do. It again astounds me that Francis Ford Coppola made The Godfather, which, okay, this is years in the past. Movies are made differently now, but even with those kind of rose-colored glasses, like it doesn't work even if you were to put this movie back many years ago in a different time in Hollywood. It just doesn't work. Jon Voight is in this. He plays a ridiculous character that's just, again, everybody feels like they're more important also than they seem. Like they're all trying to backstab one another, but they're playing tricks on one another. But at the very end, who cares? Who cares about any of this? Yeah, Dustin Hoffman's in this. Other people are in this. There's like Adam Driver, Shia LaBeouf, Aubrey Plaza, Nathaniel Emmanuel, Jon Voight, Giancarlo Esposito, Dustin Hoffman. I would say these would be the heavy hitters of this. Oh, Jason Schwartzman's in this. Lawrence Fishburne dictates it. He's also the driver. Doesn't explain why he's dictating this. Maybe he just has an elegant, beautiful mind. James Remar is here just randomly, but then there are other people in this. And not, how do I say this without being insulting? I don't think I can. D.B. Sweeney is in this. I only see this actor in lesser movies. Another one that kind of caught me off guard was Chloe Fineman. Chloe Fineman, again, I would see in lesser movies than what this movie wants to be. And it really takes you out, because if you've ever seen these actors and actresses in other movies, they just things don't add up. But because of this, the entire product is brought down. I have been wanting to tell you what the story of this movie, what it is, but I find that this movie exists more interesting than it. But let's try and tell the story. Adam Driver's character, Caesar, can stop time for some reason. Does it matter for the movie? No, it does not matter at all for the movie. Does he have a dead wife? Yeah, he does, and he creates a new element or a new building platform because of that. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. He meets, what's her? Julia, which is why can't I pronounce this? Nathalie Emmanuel's character. She is just kind of somebody who is kind of antagonizing him a little bit, but then they become lovers. He eventually gets shot in the face. Adam Driver Does that matter? He heals himself with this miracle property that he wants to build buildings out of to make Megalopolis. And I think the only thing that kind of makes sense is he wants to build for the future where people now want to actually live. And these are human beings that are living. And I'm like, I think this is a good story piece. How is your idea of building for the future and clearing out what's there presently, how does that work out? Because these are human beings' lives that you're playing with, and that just doesn't work out in reality. You have to slow build to things, and he just wants, Adam Driver's character, Caesar, just wants things now. But does it matter? No, he just makes some CGI slop fest where the coolest things about it are that the buildings look swoopy and that there are these kind of CGI treadmills that just kind of get you from one place to the other, but is in the slowest way possible. There's nothing to spoil about this movie other than maybe Adam Driver getting shot and then him healing himself in like 5 minutes. Aubrey Plaza's character is trying to take over the bank to maybe get back at Caesar because she loves him. Why? No one cares. You could easily not see this movie. If you have time, if you don't have time, don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're missing out. There will be other movies that will, other videos on YouTube that will go, and once this is out in Blu-ray, once this is out in digital, they'll go over and they'll talk about the movie in like 20 minutes and you'll be out of here. But for this, I felt like this movie went from a bad movie to a laughably bad movie to schlock to just, why did I spend my time here? I kept on looking at my watch thinking like, I wish that this would end sooner. It's an hour and 38 minutes and you have to account for that being some of the credits at the end. It's about an hour and a half movie. Sorry, it's about 2 hours and 10-minute movie. That's long. It feels long. It's a very simplistic movie that's trying to be more, but I think my biggest film critique out of all of this is that Francis Ford Coppola wrote this. He has all these pompous sounding lines that are more important than they really are, but the thing is, if he wanted to tell a story, you don't talk to people like this. You don't talk to the masses like this. You have to make it simple if you want this to be a nationwide release. If this was an art house film, and this is only released in film, my mind is going right now. I feel dumber for watching this movie. At movie selection award shows, like that's maybe what it is. If you made this movie and you want to show it to your friends, that's it. They would probably get the inside jokes and kind of what you were saying, but people outside, they just don't get it. It's like you don't know how to talk to people, how to get your point across, and I feel embarrassed because of that. And also I figure, ever since this was in like film showings, they didn't go back and maybe they did. Maybe they went back and re-edited some of this, but even with that, embarrassingly bad. If you have time, go and see it, because this is the worst big budget movie I've ever seen. And it's a real, it's a thinker on how bad things can be in 2024. Anyway, guys, if you have any comments or questions, put it in the comment section below. Don't forget I'm on Instagram and Threads at M8B9. You can email me at creativenyc2024@gmail.com. Yes, this is a Derrick Rose jersey. He retired today. I think that's the most important thing that happened to me today. And then I saw Megalopolis, and that's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.